Wars is presented by the Rippin Podcast Network. In this episode of Cardboard Wars, your hosts Ben Rippin and Kevin Rips explore the legendary rise of the most iconic quarterback drafted at pick 199. Ben and Kevin dive into the captivating story behind a certain 2000 Bowman football card and unravel Tom Brady's improbable journey from overlooked rookie to undisputed GOAT. They also explore the history of the resilient Bowman brand. Join your hosts for insights into Brady's career, the sports card market, and lessons in perseverance and reinvention. So sit back and enjoy this episode of Cardboard Wars.
It's February, the year 2000. We're in Indianapolis. A 22-year-old quarterback stands kind of scrawny and shirtless at the NFL Combine. Cameras are flashing, stopwatches are clicking. This quarterback runs the 40-yard dash in kind of a slow 5.28 seconds. His vertical, also not impressive, 24.5 inches. I mean, he's not gonna dunk at all. Scouts are scribbling notes. This kid is too stiff, too scrawny, poor build, will get hurt, won't last. A photo, which eventually becomes famous, gets snapped. A symbol maybe of mediocrity? No, actually. His name? Tom Brady. Drafted 199th in the NFL draft. Nobody thought that this human would become one of the greatest of all times, and that his card, which was stuck inside of a $2 pack of Bowman, would become also one of the most impactful and famous football cards of all time. Numbered 236, pretty much worthless when it first came out, and to many of us, including my co-host Kevin, aka Kevin Rips, and myself, Ben Rippin, this card is priceless.
Goes to the end zone. Tom Brady's first NFL touchdown pass.
Truly priceless.
It is. Card number 236. The thing about this card is it doesn't matter if we're talking about the base one or the chrome version. It was pennies in 2000. By August of 2025, by today, when you look at the PSA 10 graded cards, whether we're talking about chrome or the base, it's worth a whole lot more than a couple pennies. In fact, the chrome version sold for over $30,000 at a heritage auction. That card bottled a legend. I mean, we're talking about another GOAT here, Ben. 7 Super Bowls, 5 MVPs, undisputable GOAT.
Not to mention his refractor, which was hidden very rarely in boxes of 2000 Bowman Chrome. Highest price ever sold for one of these cards, $498,000 for a PSA 10. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cardboard Wars. This is your host, Ben, and my buddy, Kevin. We are excited because we are going to dive into the history of one of the most impactful and epic cards of all time, the 2000 Bowman Tom Brady. Let's get in. Kevin, are you excited?
I am pumped, man. This is, again, another epic card that you and I are going to break down, and not just the card itself, but in true Ben Rippin and Kevin Rip style, Cardboard War style, we're going to tell you a whole lot more than just about how cool this card is and how valuable it's become. Like, there's a story behind this that we're going to dive into.
In fact, this story, as we start, is not just about the card. Just like the first episode of Cardboard Wars, when we talked about Fleer and how they got started, we're going to talk about Bowman. This is a gum company that legitimately just refused to die. This is a story of a quarterback that nobody believed in and a card that became it. It is one of the most important football cards from one of the most impactful players of all time. But before we dive into Tom, let's dive into the gum company. Let's start with Bowman, a brand that had highs and lows, and we're going to tell you a little bit about its history. In 1927, funny enough, Kevin, also in Philadelphia, before they were famous for cheesesteaks, apparently they were famous for all the gum companies in the world. Jacob Warren Bowman launches a gum company in the middle of America's candy craze. Kids were saving their pennies and their nickels for sweets, but Jacob, he saw something bigger. He believed that gum was the thing that would hook the kids and the adults alike. And if you added cards to the gum, you would make a group of massive, loyal fans. That was 1927. But by 1948, something else was happening, Kevin.
That's right, Ben. By 1948, Bowman they're diving in. This is their first baseball set that drops. Very colorful action shots. And the size, we're talking about like 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, are the standards we still use today. But we also have a lot of Bowman cards from back then that were they were like a square, right? They look different. They stand out from the other cards that are on the market. We've got basketball cards, football cards, baseball cards. Now, obviously, we're going to focus on football today, but Bowman, they dove in, man. They went for it. They saw that, yeah, we're this gum company, but it's going to be the cards that really make us.
In fact, in 1951, they made one of the most epic baseball cards of all time, and one of the favorite cards in my personal collection, the 1951 horizontal Mickey Mantle.
Bagley works carefully. The count reaches 2-2, and then Mantle hammers the ball down the right field line and into the stands, only a few feet there. The Yankees lead 1-0.
Do me a favor, give that one a little bit of a Google. It's one of the most beautiful and amazing baseball cards ever created. Not the most valuable Mantle. That's probably the 1952 Topps, which we'll talk about on a future show, but it's definitely one of my favorites. But in the middle of creating these cards, Bowman kind of comes into the middle of what we'll call the gum war. Rival companies like Leaf and Fleer, they're out scrapping. Topps is flexing their muscles. They're signing exclusive deals. By 1955, Bowman is losing some of the stars. In 1956, because of their inability to control players and get players on their cards, unfortunately for Bowman, but fortunately for our friends at Topps, they buy Bowman for $200,000. The presses stopped printing, and for a while, Bowman is gone.
And then, a couple decades later, I remember this like it was yesterday. My friends, Jay and Randy and Chris, that all lived on my street, that we collected cards together, and we got together and we traded cards. We went to card shops together. We heard this rumor that Bowman was coming back, that Topps was actually going to revive Bowman. So it's 1989, and these cards the pictures are just bigger. They stood out on shelves. And I'll never forget the first time I was able to open a pack of Bowman cards, because in my mind, as a little kid in grade school, I think of these old classic Bowman, right? They've been gone for decades. And all of a sudden they're back on the scene. Luckily, Topps decided, hey, there's something here. Man, and I think it was 89 was just baseball. By early mid 90s, football starts returning. Late 90s, we start to see a Bowman Chrome, something with some foil, some shine, refractors like you mentioned. And when those first came out, man, that was like holding the future in your hand. Those cards just look so much different and cleaner than anything we had ever seen at that point.
Today, Bowman's known for being really the holder of the most important rookie cards in modern baseball. If you want to own an important baseball card, you get the Bowman first card. During this time, Bowman was making one set of cards, one box that you could buy for multiple sports. But when they launched Chrome, those years they would sell a standard Bowman product and then also a Bowman Chrome box. Two separate things, but very similar in look. Chrome, it wasn't just cardboard though, it was innovation for the sports card space. Collectors were chasing these different variations and parallels that allowed really the card industry to dig themselves out of the junk wax era, because they started making cards in packs rare. These refractors that Kevin mentioned, or the numbered cards, the golds, those types, those were important. They created scarcity and value in cards.
In 2000, Bowman Football delivered a set with 240 cards, base and chrome, printed across millions of packs. Kids chased LaDainian Tomlinson. Everybody remembers LT Urlacher. But there is one hidden among them, card number 236, that today stands out above the rest. It's Mr. Tom Brady.
Now it's time to play football. The three-time Super Bowl MVP, Tom Brady, who has virtually every record for a quarterback.
Kevin, what was funny, people were trading and giving away Tom Brady cards, card number 236, for cards of LaDainian and Bryant, because they were expected to be the stars of the future. Nobody expected it to be Tom. Bowman's collapse early in the century could have been the end. Instead, it became kind of a lesson. Sometimes giants win, sometimes they lose, but they also rise when nobody expects it. The NFL in the year 2000 was electric. We had star players rushing for over 2,000 plus yards. Peyton Manning was throwing for 4,400. The Rams winning in a dramatic fashion. There were NFL stars everywhere. And then there was Tom Brady. He was kind of a late pick from San Mateo, California, kind of barely even a blip.
A school producing quarterbacks, you think of Dreisbach, Greasy, Gerbach, Collins, 4 Michigan quarterbacks who are on NFL rosters now. Tom Brady at pick 198 goes to the New England Patriots.
In fact, Brady's sort of underdog story, it goes back even further. Even quarterbacks that get drafted late were stars usually growing up. But Brady was the backup quarterback for his freshman high school team. I want you to let that sink in, not the varsity team. Brady, as a freshman, was the backup quarterback on the freshman team. But he eventually became the starter, and by his junior and senior year, he was leading the varsity team. They were finding success. Obviously, he faced struggles. He had setbacks early in his high school career, but he used those experiences to work harder and become the guy that was good enough to earn a scholarship to the University of Michigan. And then it's like the same thing all over again. He gets to Michigan and he's the backup and he's not getting very many reps. He's not getting playing time. And in fact, by the time we get later into his career at Michigan, there's this other guy there. His name is Drew Henson. Now, I'll never forget Drew Henson because he was that high school baseball player picked by the Yankees and on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And then when that didn't pan out, he went back to college. But he was like the golden boy. The fans at Michigan loved him. But Tom kept battling and kept getting better. And Drew and Tom just went back and forth. And in 99, his last year in college, he threw for over 2,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. But then the Orange Bowl.
For a final time tonight, Alabama and Michigan set to light up the Knights in Miami at the 66th FedEx Orange Bowl.
The very beginning of 2000, he throws for 369 yards, 4 touchdowns, including the game-winning score in overtime to tight end Sean Thompson in Michigan's win in overtime of the Orange Bowl. And yet, the scouts still doubted him.
At the combine, he looked like a scrawny little insurance salesman or real estate agent, not a quarterback. 6 quarterbacks actually were drafted ahead of him. Brady later said that particular instance of his life created a chip on his shoulder that's actually still there. And sometimes, Kevin, that's all we need. We need a couple people in our lives that say, you'll never do it, so we can prove them wrong. And then a couple friends in our lives that say, don't worry, you got this.
That's right. And similar to high school, similar to his college story, he gets to the NFL. He's not getting the reps, not in games, not in practice. In fact, he only had 3 attempts for 6 whole yards his rookie year. But then something happened. Beginning of the next football season, I believe it was September 23rd, 2001. And Ben, I have a confession. I'm a lifelong Raiders fan, so this is the beginning of a heartbreak for me. But September 23rd, 2001, Mo Lewis crushes Drew Bledsoe, who was the guy, not just in New England, like he was one of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL.
So 3rd down and 10 now. Big play for the Patriots. Bledsoe gonna run it. Needs 10 yards. Oh, does he hit? Oh my.
And the ball, they're going to actually, it looks like they're going to rule that a fumble. And oh, look at Drew.
Yeah, this is the more critical than the first down.
Just absolutely crushes Drew. He's hurt. He's got to leave the game. And Belichick goes to Brady. Brady steps in. They end up going 11-3 with him at the helm. And we all know that they won the Super Bowl that year. But basically a dynasty was born that day.
And Brady's story just kept getting bigger. 3 Super Bowl rings in 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. He basically had the perfect 2007 season. Down 28-3 against the Falcons with 0 odds of winning, mathematically less than 1%. Brady threw 43 completions for 466 yards and created the greatest comeback in NFL history.
Thank you to all our fans, everyone back in Boston, New England, we love you. You've been with us all year. We're bringing this sucker home. Tom Brady.
his numbers were insane, but like they almost look like they were dreamed up. Over 89,000 passing yards, 649 touchdowns, 7 Super Bowls, a record, by the way, 15 Pro Bowls. This is a career that seemed impossible. And it turned out to be, I mean, I said it before, I'll say it again. He's the GOAT. There's to me no disputing he's the guy. And I say that as a guy that actively rooted against him in his playing days. He turned those numbers and he turned that story into the greatest quarterback career of all time.
His coach said, "There's no quarterback I'd rather have." His fiercest competitor, Peyton Manning, admitted that when playing against Brady, you better be ready for 60 minutes of hell. Brady himself said, "You don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be relentless." I took some time and looked up a couple Brady quotes that stood out to me. I don't know, Kevin, if you want to pick one or two, but one that stood out to me is, "I didn't come this far to only go this far. So we've still got a lot further to go."
I love that. Another one of my favorites is, "Don't rely on others. Your life is what you make of it."
If you don't believe in yourself, why is anybody else going to believe in you?
Another one of Brady's famous quotes, "My job is to play quarterback, and I'm going to do that the best way I know how."
I'm not the person who defends myself very often. I kind of let my actions speak for me.
If you don't play to win, don't play at all.
I'm not a great natural athlete. I'm a good athlete. I work extremely hard. I'm very disciplined. Everyone, I love it. I wasn't given the best genetics in life. I was raised in a situation of extreme poverty. Everything I own, I've worked hard for, just like Brady. You don't have to wait for the lottery to pull your numbers. God doesn't send us checks or a savior. He sends us work boots. It's up to us to put them on, just like Brady did. Let's get back to the actual card. The 2000 Bowman set wasn't just Brady. It was a showcase of some of the greatest veterans of that era. Randy Moss, Peyton Manning, some of the best rookies, Brian, LaDainian, Sean Ellis, Chad Pennington. Kevin, I think there's a bunch of Hall of Famers, but at the end of the day, there was only one rookie that stood out.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I think it was something like 20 Hall of Famers in that set, but only Brady's rookie went from literally overlooked to legendary card. I mean, if you go back to then, kids were looking for those veterans like Randy Moss, right? And the Peyton Manning. And now you want to buy a sealed box from that 2000 Bowman Chrome? You're paying a lot of money. It's north of $5,000 for a box. And let's face it, it's cool to pull a Randy Moss or Peyton Manning from 2000. But if you're buying that box, you're chasing Tom Brady's rookie card.
I saw 2 auctions last weekend on Fanatics Collect selling boxes of Bowman Chrome, and they all sold in the high 4,000s, probably over 5,000 with buyer premium. And really the only card that you're looking for in there is the actual Tom Brady 236. Lesson is sometimes the greatest treasures in a box of card look ordinary. It takes time to reveal the truth. Something interesting about me, for those of you that don't know me well, I've never sold a single card in my life to anyone. I own every card unless I've given it away to a friend or traded it for a different card. My belief is that over time, some of these cards will turn into massive returns on investment, and you just never know who. And Brady is a good example of that. This card, $50 a year or two after him being a rookie, can fetch tens of thousands of dollars today. The base card, just regular base 236 card out of Bowman, $10,000 in a PSA 10, $2,500 in a PSA 9, $1,000 in a PSA 8, and it goes down. But there's only 473 PSA 10s in the base 236 Bowman Tom Brady. That year, there was also a special card in the Just 2000 Bowman box. It was called the 2000 Bowman Rookie of the Year promotion. And a PSA 10 in Rookie of the Year, which there's only 17 in population, are selling north of $40,000 a card. But this second box, the Bowman Chrome, it's where something special happens. The standard Bowman Chrome Tom Brady card, PSA 10, population of 1,213, graded in a 10, are $12,000, $13,000, $14,000. A PSA 9, $4,000, $5,000. PSA 8, $2,000. PSA 7, $1,000. PSA 6, $600. And a PSA 1, $1,000. Happily, I'd like to announce, everybody, I'm the owner of that Population 1 PSA 1. I might have created that at a PSA booth one day, but we'll tell that story a different day. But inside that box, there was two other things that most people don't know about. There was actually a Bowman Gold card, numbered, I believe, to 99. And Brady was one of the cards that got that unique gold to 99. And there's only 3 PSA 10s in population. And a PSA 8 just sold for $26,000. There hasn't been a 10 sold for quite a while. But lastly, the most important card, the most valuable, is the refractors. Around that year, Bowman started releasing this unique kind of sheen variation of the refractor. And in a PSA 10, there's only 7 of them currently recorded. Highest selling, 498,000. A PSA 9, 59, selling for 30, 40, 50,000. PSA 8, 23, 25,000, only 45 of them. PSA 7, there's only 20, still selling for 20, 30,000. There's only one PSA 1. There is no PSA 2s, no PSA 3s, one PSA 4, no, and a couple PSA 5s. Very, very rare. And also one of those cards that you can get scammed on.
Yeah, not unlike episode 1's card. This is a highly faked card. In fact, PSA rejects something like 10% of all the Brady submissions they get. The reality is, when you think about some of those dollar numbers you just shared, Ben, and there were some big dollars attached even to the lower grades, that's because there's high demand, right? And unfortunately, I think it's human nature. I don't love it, but it's a fact of life. When you've got high demand, you're going to have a higher counterfeit rate. And so it's so important to make sure that you are buying from a reputable seller. You're maybe even only buying graded cards unless you know how to spot, and be able to tell the difference between a fake and an actual card. Because again, that kind of demand unfortunately creates high counterfeit rates.
Yeah, the card when it first came out of those original Bowman and Bowman Chrome boxes wasn't worth anything. He was still in his underdog stage of proving that a NFL quarterback drafted 199th in the draft could turn into something. That greatness was inside him, but just nobody had noticed yet. Kind of our lesson, our rookie self, Kevin, yours and mine, we have value even if nobody else sees it, so long as we put in the work. Now, Brady said, you can prove them right or you can prove them wrong. I think the sales of his cards prove that. Your worth isn't what others decide. Your worth is what time reveals. Work hard and be kind, and then you can become a cultural icon.
This card isn't just a collectible, it's cultural. I mean, Drake name drops it. LeBron's flashed his PSA 10 version. Collectors pose with this card like it's jewelry. I mean, it's a symbol of status. If you go look at the Google search history, you can see it's spiked something like 250% back in 21 when the entire industry was seeing a big spike. But of course, Tom's leading the way. We saw a $50,000 fake make headlines. And of course, since Brady's retirement, it's not like he's left the headlines. Everything from his Netflix roast to the events that he shows up to, getting a job commentating on NFL. He's become an owner. I mean, this guy just stays relevant, very similar to the card that we talked about in our previous episode. I mean, he is just still to this day as relevant, if not more than ever before.
I love the Comedy Central roast of Tom Brady. Literally cracked up. I might have started crying. Tom also loves the hobby. He's an investor or owner of Card Vault, one of the coolest card stores in the United States, currently spreading all over the US. Love what they're doing. In fact, when you look at the marketing of that card store, it's this Bowman card that's front and center, even though this isn't the most valuable card of Tom Brady. That's probably the 2000 Contenders Championship ticket card, which sells in the millions and millions of dollars. But owning a Brady rookie isn't about money. And I often get people that comment and say, hey, I can't believe that you just posted a PSA 6 or a PSA 7 or PSA 8 or a PSA 4 of a player. Well, it's not about money for me. It's about me collecting history and studying athletes and leaders and people that give back to the world. This is a piece of history, but it's legitimate, a story about how you can turn around your life even if you run into setbacks. And this little piece of cardboard has changed the hobby. Kevin, kind of refresh us a little bit on the overall Bowman set.
Yeah, Tom's done a lot of things. He didn't build the card set, right? Topps did that. In that 2000 Bowman set, they put it together. I mean, think about it. It's 240 cards. There's a matte base. There's a glossy chrome version. When you bought a box of that, you had 24 packs of 8 cards, which if you're looking for the odds, on average, you're getting 3 Tom Brady's per box. But as with all cards, condition matters. And that's a tough part anytime you're talking about opening cards from that era.
Actually, Kevin, I think it was 3 Brady's per case.
Oh, is it per case? That's right.
I've opened up many boxes of 2000 Bowman and got no Brady's. So think about that. It's not a guaranteed. Even if you spend the $5,000 on a box of Bowman, it is not a guaranteed Tom Brady.
That's rough, man. When you think about it, because again, all these great players we've named that are also in this set, and we're probably not spending that kind of money on a box or a case for guys not named Tom Brady. Am I right?
Right. I'm holding two cards right now. I'm holding the 2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady, and I'm holding the 2000 base Bowman Tom Brady. Both beautiful cards. One I have as a PSA 2, the other one I have as a PSA 9. It's an amazing pose. He has his arm up, ready to throw, looking forward. Cards are very similar. You can tell the difference in the top right-hand corner between the Bowman and the Bowman Chrome. The Bowman Chrome actually has silver writing. It says Chrome on it, and it says rookie card below it. The base Bowman is a gold Bowman icon top right corner that says 2000 Bowman. These cards are beautiful. Gold border, little bit of color. I just love them. But their PSA 10s are hard to come by. In fact, they're scarce. And trying to get a refractor or a numbered gold, it's actually pretty rare. Let's go forward a bit, Kevin, and talk about the evolution of Bowman since 2000. Because even though Bowman died, was purchased by Topps and put on the shelf for all those years, when Topps revived it in the 90s, or 89 rather, it's kept growing and building. And now there's lots of different Bowman sets. In fact, some of my favorite cards to open are Bowman University, Bowman Draft, the famous Paul Skeens card that came out last year with the debut patch, came out of a box of Bowman. Autographs started being added in 2001. Relics like patches, parts of their jersey in 2002. Draft picks was launched in 2005. 2008, the entire world takes a crash because of the financial crisis. Values start to drop. But the Bowman and the Bowman Chrome product, it endured. In fact, in 2022, Fanatics, one of the greats, I love the Fanatics Fest conference. You all will see me there. If you go there, hit us up on the Instagrams where you can find me, Ben Rippin with a G at the end, and Kevin Rips on Instagram as well. Fanatics bought Topps in 2022 for $500 million. And Bowman, since it was owned by Topps, became part of this massive new empire.
Yeah. And then Bowman Draft Football drops retro Brady inserts, a direct nod, right, to the year 2000. It's a reminder for us that history repeats itself, and sometimes it repeats itself in chrome.
Tom Brady's 2000 Bowman rookie isn't just a card. It's proof that overlooked doesn't mean finished. It's proof that reinvention beats rejection. It's proof that persistence wins.
From $2 packs to auctions in the tens of thousands of dollars. From 6 yards of passing to 89,000 yards of passing. From the 199th pick, not just to the Hall of Fame, but to true GOAT status.
You know, nobody believed that Tom was going to make it except for him. But Bowman took the time to put him on a card. They didn't count him out. Here's the truth. When you find a player that you believe in, keep it, protect it, and see how time changes its value, not just to your bank account, but to you. This hobby allows us to be a part of history and to preserve history. Tom Brady said, a lot of times I find that people who are blessed with the most talent don't ever develop the right attitude. And the ones who aren't blessed in that way are the most competitive and have the biggest heart. He said, I didn't have any built-in advantages, and I think that's what made me work so hard. Quote after quote after quote. Any other last ones stand out to you?
There is, Ben. This is my favorite Tom Brady one. And while I don't have the quote word for word in front of me, it's the one that I think about so often. He talks about, again, think about his his high school year, early high school years, early college years. And he's backup. He's not even getting the reps in practice, much less playing time. And he tells a story about kind of complaining about that to an athletic trainer. And this guy says to him, maybe you should stop complaining about the reps and the things that you're not getting and take the reps that you have and the opportunities that you have and make the very most of each and every one of those and see what happens. And he said that was a real wake-up call for him. And that's how he started to approach life. That's how he started to approach his profession of being a quarterback, because all he ever wanted to be was a football player. That's all this guy dreamed about. And he followed it. And he took it that seriously. And we all know where that got him.
This skinny beanpole of a young man walked over to me and said, "Hi, Mr. Kraft. I want to introduce myself. I'm Tom Brady." I said, "I know who you are. You're our 6th-round draft choice." And I always remember he looked me like a laser, eye to eye, and he said, "That's right, and I'm the best decision this organization has ever made."
Michael Jordan said, I've known Tom for a long time, and to me, his intelligence and sheer determination to win are off of the charts. That unrelenting drive is what truly sets him apart from anyone else in the game. Brett Favre, he said, man, Tom Brady, what a run. Greatest to ever play. And you did it with class and humility. God bless you and your family as you begin your new chapter in your life, said to Tom as he retired. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoy Cardboard Wars. Keep an eye out for more episodes from Kevin, myself, and some new co-hosts that you're going to hear on upcoming episodes. If you'd enjoyed this, do me a favor. It would be my honor. Follow us on Instagram, rate the podcast, and please write a review. We are going to be sending out swag to people who take the time to go to Apple Podcasts and write a review, or go on our Instagrams and comment and give your reviews. It means the world to us. If you're looking for some Rippin swag and some Cardboard Wars, it's coming your way. We don't do this for money. We have nothing to sell. We're here to support our friends and support the hobby and bring some history, motivation, drive, and knowledge to all of our friends. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Cardboard Wars on the Rippin Podcast Network. Don't forget to leave a rating and review. Check out rippin.com to get connected to what we have coming up, and find us on Instagram at Ben Ripping or at Kevin Rips. Let us know what you would like to hear about on a future episode of Cardboard Wars. Until next time, keep rippin'.